Hey everyone, thanks for attending. I am not Chris Francu, but he came down with COVID unfortunately and wasn't able to attend today. So let's just give it a second for the deck to come up. While that comes up, I'll just talk a little bit about Powerland and Xerox. So I really enjoyed Tyson's presentation. In contrast, though, being an independent organization, we're quite the opposite, as he had commented, purchased by a lot of big organizations. Powerland was founded in 1985 and has been a perpetual tech startup that whole time. Really had that mentality, scrappy, resilient, getting things done. A couple of years ago, Xerox became interested in Powerland, and so Xerox was founded in 1906. And in the last year, they've really taken a much more active approach, understanding where the opportunity lies in the market and how they can help us through augmenting with their resources to help us grow. So, I got to talk about Xerox a little bit. Let's talk about their history in our industry, right? We can look back to the 70s. They developed the Ethernet standard. We can look at the GUI. There's a famous story about Steve Jobs seeing it on the Xerox Alto. We can look at Smalltalk and object-oriented programming that was pioneered by Xerox. And then even something like the computer mouse came from Xerox. Now, can we argue they haven't always monetized these innovations the best? Yes. But Xerox is now on the path to reinvention. So what is the next 100 years? Xerox has been around for 100 years, wants to go for another 100. And how do we do that? How do we do that sustainably? How do we do that with the support of our community as well? So I'll highlight just one other point that I think is really important. Xerox has been focused on a circular economy and figuring out ways to be more sustainable and environmental since I think it was about the 80s or 90s. And they've been a pioneer in that space. And I think that's really important as we look at sustainability in our environment and the future, and our carbon footprint, obviously. So from there, I think I'd like to cap off with one point before we start with Copilot. I read something a while ago on LinkedIn that I really believe in and agree with. Your job it won't get taken by AI, but likely by somebody using AI. So how can you use it and gain that competitive advantage? And that's really, what we'll talk about a bit today. So there's been a ton of fantastic information here, lots of really informative data, and hopefully this will be a little bit lighter and cap things off on a bit of a lighter note. So first, we'll talk about, one moment please. We'll define what Copilot is and touch on a few of Copilot's offerings within the Microsoft ecosystem. So, Microsoft is committed to the advancement of AI driven by ethical principles. So first we'll look at the security foundation in Copilot for M365 and how it helps uphold privacy and security standards. You'll notice I come back to this a few times in the conversation today because Microsoft really wants to drive home how security is tied to their AI offerings. So right away, it automatically inherits all of your organization's security, compliance, and privacy policies through M365. Data is managed in line with Microsoft's current commitments. Copilot large language models are not trained on your tenant data. Microsoft has worked to design an experience that prioritizes human agency and puts the user in control. This includes noting limitations, providing links to sources, and prompting users to review, fact-check, and fine-tune content based on their own knowledge and judgment. So in 2023, AI reached an inflection point. Applications like ChatGPT, Bing Chat, Copilot, DALL-E 2 are now widely used and across society. Microsoft is taking a responsible approach by ensuring AI is built and used responsibly and ethically. They acknowledge that AI advances much benefit international competitiveness and security with the aim to serve society broadly and not narrowly. So Microsoft is heavily invested in research, policy, engineering that ensure fair, accurate, and safe AI systems. So, the surge in AI lobbying has been remarkable, with over 450 organizations participating in 2023, a 185% increase from the previous year. This trend aligns with growing demands for AI regulation, especially as AI systems impact our lives in various ways. Notably, politicians have intensified their focus on responsible AI practices. Canada, for instance, has taken significant steps by introducing Artificial Intelligence and Data Act. This proposed legislation aims to establish common requirements for the design, development, and deployment of AI systems, ensuring safety, non-discrimination, and accountability. Now let's turn to AI at work. I'm excited to share some examples, and I'll highlight how AI technologies are transforming the daily work tasks for people in different job functions throughout an organization. So ChatGPT has made waves, obviously, turning the world upside down in the realm of technology. It's brought AI into the mainstream, but it's important to note that Microsoft is a large driving force behind AI innovation. Microsoft's innovation lies in their commitment to responsible AI, ensuring ethical practices guide the use of artificial intelligence. They've embedded security and trust across their platforms, and additionally have designed AI infrastructure for reliability and scalability. Copilot combines the power of large language models, or LLMs, with your data in MS Graph and the M365 apps, accessed through natural language. So to turn your words into the most powerful productivity tool on the planet. So it accesses your calendars, email, chat, documents, meeting, contacts to do things you've never been able to do before. You can give it natural language prompts like tell my team how we updated the product strategy, and it will generate a status update based on the last email and chat threads. So to answer the question from our opening slide, what is it? Copilot for 365 is an AI-powered digital assistant. It's crafted as a user-friendly tool to simplify everyday tasks, making work more efficient and effective. It's also important to note that what you currently have in place to protect your data and identity stays in place. There are a couple of videos, but I think we're going to skip over a couple of them.
Back from vacation and way behind on our marketing video.
Or we won't.
Let's see if Copilot can help catch me up. Okay, down here, this little spot has some quick, helpful prompts. I need highlights from the past 7 days. And okay, cool. Looks like we still need logo approved. And okay, this script one is important to me. Click the little citation number, jumps me direct to the message. Highlighted in red there too. Pretty quick way to get caught up. That's what Copilot can do for you. I need to brainstorm some taglines for our company, so I'm going to ask Copilot for some ideas. Focused on inclusive design. And see what we get. Nice. Good start. Okay, let's try something a little more specific. This time, I'm going to reference our company overview right in Copilot. And go. Now I can pick a favorite and get even more ideas. Just highlight, rewrite, and Copilot gives me options. Nice. Not today, writer's block.
Okay, brand new PowerPoint here. Let's see how quickly I can turn my design report into a compelling presentation. Copilot open. Let's go down to the prompt guide. Here we go. Create from a file. Copilot suggesting recent ones, and yep, there's the one I want. Click send, and let's see what we get. Okay, this looks like a pretty great start. I'm going to go in and do some refining, but... Oh, I've got an idea. Let's try Copilot one more time here. Please make the titles on all slides green. Okay, that was cool. This might get done faster than I thought. That's what Copilot can do for you.
think there's one more. This one I actually find interesting.
Copilot puts all the rich capabilities of Excel at your fingertips. Say you need to analyze this quarter's sales results for the monthly business review. You start by asking Copilot to analyze the data and give you 3 key trends. Within seconds, you've got what you need. But you want to drill in. You ask Copilot a follow-up question about one of the trends. Copilot creates a new sheet, giving you a sandbox to play in, and helping you get a better understanding of what's happening without modifying the data in the original sheet. You ask Copilot to visualize what contributed to the decline in sales growth this period. Copilot adds a little color to make the problem jump off the page. Now you want to dig a little deeper and ask a follow-up question with a what-if scenario. Copilot not only answers your question, it creates a simple model of the scenario, and even asks you if you want to learn more about what it did, with a step-by-step breakdown. Finally, you can ask it to create a graph of your projected model. Copilot has turned a sea of data into clear insights and actions. Introducing Microsoft 365 Chat, a powerful new capability in Microsoft 365 to solve your most complex problems at work. Let's say you're a marketer at a national chain of home improvement stores, and you need to get the latest on the store opening. You start your day with Copilot, asking what's hot in your inbox today. It does some thinking and gives you an overview of the most pressing items. Great. Looks like the new store opening plans could use your attention. Let's dive in deeper there. Copilot combs through all your recent emails, chats, documents, and meetings, whether you attended them or not, to get you up to speed in moments. It didn't just summarize a single document, it knew what sources to pull from, and what information to extract from each. Next, you need to do some market research. Let's say you want some details on square footage and the proximity of competitors to your new location. M365 Chat scours the web, and within seconds, it finds everything you're looking for. And it includes references, so you can easily fact-check the results. You're curious, how does this stack up against the other stores you opened in the past year? Copilot figures out which stores you mean, crunches the numbers, and gives you the answer. Next on your to-do list, finalize the date and speaker for the opening event. You missed the last meeting, and this might have come up in the conversation. Copilot's got you covered, getting you up to speed in seconds. Looks like it was a dynamic discussion, and it's your responsibility to make the final decision. To do that, you need to understand all the factors at play, including the implications they have on your grand opening timeline. Copilot extracts the relevant details and puts them in an organized table, which helps bring the full picture into view. You're not seeing a clear answer, so you ask it to recommend the best date and speaker based on the constraints discussed. It not only understands the constraints, it thinks through the options to help solve your problem. There you go. Now you have a clear recommendation, so you can make the call and notify the team. Now that you've got your opening date, you've got to get the customers excited. Time to write a blog post. You point Copilot to the right files and ask it to pick the top 5 things and make them prominent. Here it goes. Give it a moment. Okay, now you've got a blog post. This store will be the first to unveil your new home improvement concierge service, and you need a catchy tagline. Let's generate some options. This is great for when you've got a case of writer's block. Here we go. These look pretty good. You want to add a blurb on the new store manager and highlight their impressive retail experience. Copilot pulls the information from LinkedIn and puts it in the blog for you. The opening is just around the corner, and you've got to send an email to get the team ready. Now, one of the amazing things about Copilot is you don't need to worry about things like punctuation, spelling, or being super structured in your prompt. You can just give it a total brain dump, as you can see here. And what you'll find is the more context you give it, the better the results. There was a great quote in the store walkthrough video that you want to include, but you don't remember where you last saw it or have time to search for it, let alone rewatch it to find the quote. Based on your quick description, Copilot can find the exact video you're thinking of, extract the quote you wanted, and plugs both the quote and the video into your email. Let's hop over to Outlook to refine the email. So you like the draft, but it doesn't sound like you. Introducing Sound Like Me in Outlook. Now Copilot can personalize any email to match your unique style and voice. It even gets the subtle details right, like how you sign your emails. M365 Chat is a whole new way to work.
So as you can see from this slide, why is security and data governance important when deploying Copilot for M365? I think we can all agree from all of the previous presenters, there are a ton of compelling reasons to ensure there is proper security and data governance. So Copilot with data
Microsoft
security.
365 Copilot works with the data security controls you have in place for file access, labeling, classification, and data loss prevention. Mario Rogers works for Violet Martinez, and both are on the same team at Contoso. Mario and Violet are also members in the same group working on Project Falcon. Now we'll start with Violet, who's been working with the procurement and contract management teams to sell their partner ReliCloud 1,500 Mark 8 quadcopters. And you can see the file is labeled highly confidential with restricted access, and it describes all the terms in the purchase agreement. Because Violet has access to the file, she's able to search for and find it in SharePoint and Microsoft365.com. And of course, Violet can also navigate to the file's location in the Agreements folder of the project site to find the purchase agreement. So now let's look at Mario's experience. Even though he's on the same team and working on Project Falcon with Violet, if Mario tries to search for the Contoso purchase agreement, he won't find it. And there are a few purchasing documents that he does find without sensitive information, but not the one that Violet's working on. And if Mario knows the location of the purchase agreement and tries to navigate to it directly, it just appears as an empty folder to him. And when Mario launches Word on the web and creates a blank document, then prompts Microsoft 365 Copilot to summarize the Contoso purchase agreement as a reference file, because Microsoft 365 Copilot respects the file permissions of its user, Copilot also cannot access the purchase agreement. Now if we switch back to Violet's screen, because she has permission to access the purchase agreement, she can use Microsoft 365 Copilot to summarize the file. And after a moment, you'll see it created a summary of the purchase agreement, and Violet decides to keep it. Then data security controls for Microsoft Purview discover sensitive information found in the Microsoft 365 Copilot generated content. The document is automatically labeled as highly confidential, and policies are enforced to restrict access to the document.
Great. So what I'd really like to highlight here, it is a whole new way of working that involves both software and culture. Informally, how I'm using Copilot and ChatGPT, depending on the use case, I'll use one or the other. Generally, if it's a task I really don't want to do, the first thing I'm going to ask is, can GPT or Copilot do it for me? So it's been really helpful in terms of reviewing contracts, Excel spreadsheets, highlighting differences. I found it very helpful. So here are some of the common questions we hear from customers. So who should we give the first seats to? How do I get employees up and running quickly? And what are the ways to impact? And so really, we're looking at it in a few different ways. So I'll actually go back to that previous one. Who do I give the first Copilot seats to? We recommend usually managers, executives, people that have the ability to understand and make the best use out of it, receive the best ROI because of the cost versus your time. And then from there, then you can have that executive buy-in and build out from there. Identify your use cases and work with the team to identify which activities are suited for generative AI. And what are the ways to measure impact? In many ways, financial, time, I'd say are two of the biggest ones. We'll look at an activity, see how much effort it is for somebody to do it manually. Then we'll review it, see how much effort it'll take to develop an automation for it, and then do a cost-benefit analysis and understand if it's worth it or not. So organizations are rapidly adopting AI to meet core needs. So here's some AI trends. I won't go through all of them, but it gives you a pretty good idea of some of the trends we're looking at and where they're really helping us. I'll focus in on the productivity boost. There's a ton of opportunity there for us to reduce manual repetitive tasks that don't require critical reasoning. And where those opportunities come, that frees up your team to work on more important, higher value work, right? So these are the projected most impacted areas by Copilot. And again, I'll go back to one of my first statements. Your job won't be taken by AI, but potentially somebody using AI. And so where can we get that advantage? And I'll add another thing. In a lot of the discussions I've had with a lot of AI vendors, they always mention one thing, the human in the loop. And you're always going to have that human in the loop. And you can't eliminate it completely, and you don't want to. You need that human there. So from here we can see, it helps build that employee-centric perspective, and we can add business value. And a little more data there. So these are really the questions you should be asking yourself, right? What are your organization's goals for using AI? What are the pain points? What are the capabilities? What is your data strategy? And do you have one in place? And does your organization have the necessary infrastructure and resources to support AI initiatives? And I'll call back to Tyson's presentations and some of the previous ones of having the right architecture, right? Snowflake is an absolutely fantastic tool. I've used it in my current role, I've used it in the past, and there are a lot of tools that are really important and really necessary in order to make use of AI, right? A lot of the underlying infrastructure needs to be accessible by the AI in order to train and do things with it. So there's a really big piece there that you need to have a data strategy, and you also need to ensure that you have the right infrastructure and resources. So a quick tip, modern architecture. When you're looking at new services, you want things that are modern. You want things that will talk to each other. You want things ideally based on open APIs and other areas like that. So I think we've discussed what's in it for you. I think there's a ton of opportunities here. It's really transforming work for so many people. You can see from the numbers here, it has had significant, substantial impacts to productivity as well as quality of life at work. And as you can see, there's basically a use case for just about any group within your organization. A little more in depth about impact by function. So you can see here, there's different ways that there could be impacted. Obviously, this list is not exhaustive, but just some ideas. And then AI-powered digital assistants. In my last role, I had set up a small digital assistant, a simple chatbot, with an LLM trained against it. Was it perfect? No. Did it help? Yes. And was it, what's that saying? Don't let perfection be the enemy of progress. So this is how we're going to make progress, and AI will continue to progress with it. And then this is Copilot Studio. We'll just watch this video.
Copilot Studio is a low-code tool that enables you to create new Copilot experiences across Microsoft 365 through connectors and plugins, all governed through IT. Let's take a common example, travel budgets and expenses, a process that is unique to every organization. Here we are in Copilot Chat. You've seen Copilot quickly and easily summarize documents, like this travel policy. But what if you wanted to know more? Like how much of your team's travel budget is left for the rest of the quarter? Copilot will find information from the Microsoft Graph, but that's only going to get you so far, because the data you're looking for resides in a system of record. With Copilot Studio, you can customize your Copilot to access data from first and third-party sources. Just start by giving your topic a description for what you want it to do. In this case, providing richer details on expense questions. Copilot Studio allows you to tap into any data source, including websites, Azure services, and coming very soon, you can even access and use OpenAI's GPTs from right within the Copilot Studio. And with over 1,100 out-of-the-box options to connect, you can steer Copilot to the right information, in this case, SAP. Since the travel policy is on SharePoint, you can connect that too. so Copilot can keep track of any policy updates. As you can see, we're giving Copilot instructions to let the model know how to generate responses. Once you've completed your customization, you just hit publish. And the best part, IT only needs to build it once and it can be reused across the organization, and you can manage it all in one central place. Now let's go back to the chat to see how Copilot handles your question. You use the same prompt, and just like that, your new customized Copilot gives you the answer you were looking for. Now you know exactly how much budget is remaining. And thanks to the data you just connected, you also know that any new travel needs to be booked before December 30th to stay within policy. The possibilities for what you can create here are truly limitless.
Awesome. So I'll cap this presentation off with a couple of points. So first, I'd like to reiterate the importance of your data services. In order to effectively use AI, especially if you're looking outside of MS Graph, you really need to make sure you have the right data structure in place to actually train the data. The second point I'll bring up is, and it was touched on a little bit here, the necessity of proper prompts and good prompts. So if I were to make any recommendation for Copilot, it would be learn how to prompt it correctly to get the information you want. If you don't prompt it the right way, you won't get what you want out of it, and it can be a bit finicky and interesting sometimes. The next point I'll mention is our partnerships. So being part of Xerox, being part of a global public company, we have a ton of partnerships with a myriad of organizations, more than I can put up on a slide deck. And really, you know, I really love about Powerland that we will find the right solution for the right use case. We're not going to force a specific solution. We have partners across the landscape serving all the markets, so we'll understand where your organization fits in the market and make sure you have the right tool that actually gets you where you need to go. And the last point is, if you have any questions, anything else, please come talk to us. I would be remiss if I didn't call out our Microsoft Cloud team. As you're probably aware, we are a very strong Microsoft partner. We have somebody from our cloud team here today, and let me tell you, it is a world-class team. And I'm not just saying it because Monique's here. I am not joking when I say Microsoft has actually called our team for support on cloud issues that they've had. So we have a really strong practice, and we try to ensure that we're extremely competitive in the market. So thank you all for your time, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.